Week 21 of 50 back on stream. Everyone who has signed up for $4.22 a month or more at patreon.com/DGAF pokerplayer got a lead up to this episode yesterday. It just showed up for them on the Patreon app and wherever they have pasted their personal RSS feed, including Spotify now. Lead-ups are private drops of sessions in which I share everything that goes on in my life when I'm not at the poker table. They are typically much more intimate than the public drops of sessions. And according to hundreds of patrons, many of whom have been listening to this podcast since 2018, lead-ups are the best mental escapes available in audio form. Perfect for commutes, workouts, walks, or just trying to fall asleep after a busy day. If you too want the intimate stuff, all you got to do is commit to $4.22. But wait, there's more. For that $4.22 a month, less than one big blind for most of you, you also get access to all 8 seasons of sessions. And at that point, you will never be left with nothing to listen to again. You don't have to listen to every drop of sessions to get caught up in the story. You can simply pick and choose the titles that look interesting to you, and that should do the trick. But wait, there's even more. Included in that $4.22 a month, less than 1 gallon of gas in California, you also get membership to Patron Discord, the platform where sessions listeners from all over the world go to have discussions and share their stories. They also play poker together, bet sports together with no vig, and some of them buy pieces of me when I play poker with no markup, which used to be a ridiculously lucrative perk, but ever since the end of 2023 has been pretty damn meh. Anyways, you can check out all the details of all the perks that come with each subscription tier at patreon.com/DGAF pokerplayer. Okay. Last the patrons heard, I had another stressful week. Some nice moments. My son shined on the basketball court, and so did my daughter. But a very stressful week. And I've been betting sports. I've been doing that neutral EV wagering and just getting absolutely wrecked. Like down 30 units, wrecked. And also, I was on tilt on Sunday, the day before Memorial Day, because I found out my landlord was going to start charging me for landscaping. Said, oh, I've been paying for it for 2 years, but actually you're supposed to pay for it. I thought that's bush league, if you will. Anyways, me and Miss Scorsese saw The Accountant 2 at this interesting movie theater in Torrance, and then I saw that a new 2-3 game was going at the Lucky Lady in the Gold Room on Lucky Lady Casino Live. So I asked my driver, Miss Scorsese, to take me there. But first, we had to stop at 7-Eleven because I needed some sunglasses. And the gentleman behind the counter said I looked good in some leopard skin $6 sunglasses. So I bought them, and we headed across the street to the lady. And I'm playing on stream again because I learned the reason I first started playing on stream. The games are way better. And I had planned to play Memorial Day, well, that night, the 5-5-10 game after commentating on Hustler Casino Live. And I thought, why not warm up, the night before in a 2-3 game? What could go wrong? I got $1,500 in chips from the cage, bought them for $500, got whittled down, then doubled up ace king to ace queen and was even, and then got whittled down again, and then I jammed king 4 offsuit for not many big blinds. The straddle and the re-straddle and the re-straddle were on, and this happens quite a bit where you have 10 bigs and it's been limped around or whatever. And so I lost the first 500, and then I lost the second 500, similar fashion. But this was an action game, so being stuck 1,000 isn't that big of a deal. And from then on, I just ran hot. I had pocket nines against ace 10 all in, ran twice, and I won both. And then I got lucky on a river against Gio. He had a better ace than I did, and I hit my kicker on the river. And from then on, I was able to get a lot of bluffs through. And I'm not bluffing people off of big hands. I'm bluffing them off of missed draws, basically. But I can't beat their missed draws, and I can't always get them to fold those either. That says a lot about my image. There was one cool hand on this night. I had 9-8 of spades, and it came to 10-9 deuce with a spade, and it checked around, and the turn was the 5 of spades. So I had second pair, which is likely good, and I had a flush draw, and I bet, and welcome Matt went all in for about 400. And Gio called. But by the way he called, I could tell he had picked up a spade draw as well. Probably a better spade draw than mine. But here's the thing. I got the pair. And he doesn't. Because the 10 of spades is out there. So I have a interesting situation here. I'm always going to call welcome Matt's jam because I could have him beat, but also I have so much equity with this hand, pair and flush draw. And now I'm fairly deep with Gio, and I know what he has. I know he has, well, he had ace 3 of spades, and that's exactly what I thought he had. He picked up a better spade draw, but I jammed, and he's a gambler, and he called, and the river was a brick. And my hand was good against welcome Matt too. And it was kind of a cool jam spot, and it's nice that the river was a brick. So I ran really hot after losing the first couple buy-ins, and I won a couple hoopties on this night, and headed home and didn't eat and didn't sleep very well. Got up on Memorial Day, Monday, May 26th, 2025, and I got to work. I call it WCL, water, coffee, laptop, every morning. That's my routine. And then I try to take a nap because I just felt off a bit, perhaps even hungover. And drinking it's hard when you're 51. But, I'm going to keep drinking. So you got to power through. And I went for a walk. And I wore a muscle shirt. Yeah, because I've been dropping some pounds. My arms are looking nice. I still got pounds to lose. And, I do work out on my walk. I do work for the show, and I call my kids and check out the beachgoers, and I listen to some mainstream rap. Classic middle-aged white guy shit. I came back, worked some more, showered, headed to the Hustler. And I was pretty exhausted as I went to the commentator's booth for Max Payne Monday. I had a pretty cool talk with Tawny downstairs first, though. And I'm basically taking any shift I can get there for 2 reasons. I need the money. Or 3 reasons. I need the money. I love commentating. And I want to get better at it. I want to really find my groove. Sometimes I have it, or I want to get in the groove. I want to find the zone. Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. And I feel like before I left HCL, the first time, I was almost always in the zone up there. And that could be, I could be misremembering it, but I want to get to where I feel really confident, where I have the viewers with me the whole time, and where I'm picking my spots to talk and to turn off the mic and let it be about the table. So I still feel like I'm knocking off the rust a little bit. And it was an interesting show, this Max Payne Monday. Interesting lineup. A lot of people I have interesting history with, and this is work. Obviously, commentating is work. It's 5 hours of totally being locked in to 2 different screens. The screen you're commentating on, and then the other screen that has the chat on it, because the chat is that's the number one customer of a stream, and you're trying to balance that. Some nights, Tilted Tuesdays, most Tilted Tuesdays, if Luda's there especially, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a really fun hobby that takes all your attention. Of course, it is work, but it doesn't feel like work. This night felt like work. Max Payne Monday felt like work. It felt the time was going very slowly, and it's not a complaint. I'm happy to do it. Work should feel like work most of the time, and it definitely did on this night. I was pretty drained after, but I'm able to play poker when I'm drained. And I went to get something to eat first at my favorite restaurant in Gardena, and it's fallen off quite a bit. The last 2 times we've been there just haven't been the same. And I was having a couple beers. I'm trying to get my head right. And then went over to Lucky Lady and had a cocktail in the bar and talked to some people. You got to be relaxed when you play poker, and I didn't feel like I was, but what am I going to do? It's a really good game. I committed to playing, and so much of it is just decided by variance anyways. That's just the brutal truth of poker in 2025 especially. It used to be different. It used to be hardly any aggression pre-flop from your opponents. So the pots were tiny when you went to the flop, and then you had all this maneuverability post-flop, including, running bluffs anytime someone didn't have a stack off hand. It's just way different now. So much goes in pre that, the poker gods decide who's going to do well and who isn't. Yes, you can have an edge, but there is a ton of variance in live poker in 2025, let me tell you. So I bought in for $1,500, 5-5-10, but the 20 is on, and it's a 2K cap, and I brought 10K from the cage, and I just can't get anything going. And finally, I call a 3-bet with King Jack suited against Rob the Bank. I know he's very capable of 3-betting light. And I call a couple streets with a draw and whiff, and he had pocket kings. And okay, I'm down $500, and then I get down 200 more. I'm down to 800, and the 40 is on. So it's 5, 10, 20, 40, and I have 800. That's 20 big blinds. And Rob opens, and some people call, and this is a good jam spot with ace X. And I did, and Rob had aces. When I had King Jack suited, he had kings. When I had ace X and a good jam spot, and, people are opening all kinds of hands, calling with all kinds of hands. I thought it was a pretty good jam spot, and just ran into aces. You're not supposed to run into kings when you have King Jack. You're not supposed to run into aces when you have ace X. And yeah, I just that was it for the first 1,500. So I added 2K, and just couldn't get anything going. I added an extra 500, so I'm in for 2K bullets, in for 4K total, and I ran a successful bluff. It wasn't like an elaborate one, just some aggression with King 4 offsuit, took it down, and then I 3-bet Stasia with King 4, just small, just to kind of isolate her and play in position, which is my specialty. And she called, and it came King 4 deuce. She checked, and I bet small, of course, top 2. She called. The turn was a 10. I bet a little bit bigger. She called. The river was an 8, and she snap jammed. And my first instinct was, wow, she just called me down with pocket 8s and banked an 8. That's the only hand that makes sense here for value. And I did that thing that poker players do when they haven't been doing well. And yeah, I've had a few good sessions lately, but overall it's just been shitty for over a year. You second guess. Wait a second, am I really going to fold a monster? I flop top 2 and a heads up 3-bet pot. And I'm going to fold to this jam that is only pocket 8s. It's only pocket 8s for value. I don't know anything about Stasia. It's my first time playing with her. Is she capable of bluffing here? If you watch the stream, I said I have a laser read that this is pocket 8s. And at that point, I should have just folded. But it's, God, you're just losing to, that would mean she had to call the flop with 8, of course, and then call again when the 10 comes on king 4 deuce 10, and then bink the set. And I kept saying I have a laser read, but then I was like, man, I just don't know enough about this player, and I called and she had pocket 8s. And one thing in my poker career that I've never gotten to is putting people on rivered sets. It's just so hard when you know like you're good on the flop and someone turns a set, and especially when you know you're good on the flop and turn and they river a set and it's a set that wouldn't make much sense. It would mean they call with 2 overcards out there. It's just not a good bluff catcher, these small pairs. You see it often. You want to bluff catch with bottom pair, because then you can hit trips or 2 pair. But a pocket pair is really hard to improve. And I just started thinking too much, and I ended up calling, and it was frustrating. And, it's also frustrating that I was 95% to win on the turn when she called. And this has happened to me so many times over the last year plus. Suited Superman did it to me with the same exact fucking hand, 8s, when I flopped trips. And I ended up folding to him because I bet so much on the turn, and it was different. I bet like 2K and he jammed. This was just an open jam, and I don't know anything about this player, but I've seen so much poker in my life, and this kind of spaz all in for a ton is often someone was bluff catching and they rivered a set, but I just couldn't get there. I don't know if I'll ever get there to the hand against suited. I thought he had slow played him on. I knew I was beat. I folded. I didn't know he rivered a 2-outer. I thought maybe he had slow played a monster or turned, top boat or something. But I've never been able to get there of like, it's just been a weak spot for me when someone turns or rivers a set. And I don't know if I'll ever get there to like, oh, that's why I knew I was good on the flop and turn and why I have to fold here. I don't know. I'm down 4K right away. And I find a good spot to go all in with ace-8 suited just every once a week. And Sasha calls with ace-6 suited. So we're going to run it twice and we chop. And, I'm a 65-35 favorite there. And that's, I guess, a pretty standard outcome running it twice. But it could have been better. Could have been worse. And I'm on my 3rd bullet, and I'm in there in a bloater with 10-7 of hearts. And the flop comes king 10-4 with 2 hearts, pair and flush draw. And Zohar bets, and I decide to raise here. Why? Well, because he could be betting a draw. One of my favorite things is getting it in with, he could be betting with a worse flush draw and no pair, and then he's all but drawing dead. He could be betting with a better flush draw. He could be betting with an open ender. He could be betting with a lot of hands, and some of them might fold to my raise, and I'm happy to play for it all. It's only, with the 20 is on, it's only 100 bigs, and he goes all in with king deuce offsuit on king 10-4, 2 hearts. And of course I call with 10-7 of hearts, and we're flipping. We run it twice, and I break out. Fuck. I'm down 3 bullets with quickness. And then I win a little in a bomb pot. The 3 of us are in there, and it's a 1K cap, and I chop. So I win 500 there. And then I finally flop a set. I flopped a set recently with 3s at the Gardens, and I flop a set in a 6-way pot with 3s. Ace 10-3 rainbow. And there's a bunch in the middle, but there's still more to get. And it's ace 10-3 rainbow, and the guy who raised pre-flop bets, and 2 people call. And it's one of those things where I see people raise here, and it's just too strong. Even for someone like me, there are no draws available. Ace 10-3 rainbow. It's just too strong to raise. Yeah, there's already quite a bit in the middle, but you got to gamble here. You got to try and get the rest. You just need the turn to be a brick and someone with a big ace to bet again, and then you get it in. And the turn's a queen, and I'm out of position. I check, and then Winston checks, and the other two check, and the river is a king. Well, I was second to act post flop, and so ace 10-3 rainbow runs out queen king, and now Stasia leads, and I fold my set, and she had jack 10. So she flopped middle pair and made runner straight. And at this point, I should leave, because you finally flop a set and you still lose to middle pair. And it's debatable if I should just like take the pot on the flop. I don't play poker that way. I play like, sure, if there's a flush draw available, or if it's like king 10-3, well, now there's queen jack available. There's nothing to represent with a raise that isn't a monster. And I don't know. I chose to just call, and I needed the set to hold, and I needed, just one decent card or out of the two, and I didn't get it. And I felt like I should leave. I'm down quite a bit. It's just, I'm feeling cursed. I've felt like this often, and most of the time it proves to be true. But I stay. And I squeeze with ace 4. And Stasia calls again, out of position. It comes ace 10-10. And I bet small. And I guess it wasn't heads up. She overcalls. Ace 10-10. And turns a 9. I bet again. Call. River's a 5 and she leads. What the fuck is going on here? I got a call. She has pocket 5s. She rivered a set again? Well, this time it was a boat. Last time it was a set, but you know what I'm saying. Another 2-outer? Is this fucking real life? I don't know. Now I'm really spooked. I'm buried. I can't fade anything. She has rivered 2 sets against me when she was drawing the 2 outs. And then she beat me with middle pair against bottom set by hitting runner straight. Yes, no money went in on the turn, but I don't know. I'm just spooked. And then when you're spooked, bad things happen. The damage is already done. I'm already fucking buried. And I have 8-5 of clubs and a bloater, and it comes jack 10 deuce. 2 diamonds, we all check. Turns an 8, we all check again. River's an 8, and I pot it, which is polarized. It's a bluff or an 8. And Winston, who's a preflop raiser, now raises. I think I bet 200. It wasn't a big pot, and he raises to 700. And it gets back to me, and I have no idea what's going on in these fucking hands. What is going on here? He shouldn't have any bluffs here, because I'm polarized. I either have trips or nothing. Now I pot it into, the field, and he's a preflop raiser. So if I have nothing, he should just be calling with showdown value if he thinks I'm, bluffing. But he raised, and my head was spinning. What is going on these river cards? And I folded trips, and he had pocket 4s. What the fuck? What's going on? Multi-way pot. This isn't a fucking heads up pot. And in hindsight, I think I should just put in the call. But this is the thing with poker. This is how momentum works. You sit down. Yeah, you're not rested at all. And you're not relaxed, which is much preferred. But the first hand you play is King Jack suited, you run into kings. Then you have ace X and run into aces. These are unlikely events. And then let me just scroll back up here. You lose your first bullet, and then on your second bullet, you flop top 2, and on king 4 deuce, and then you bet again on a 10, and the river's an 8, and your opponent who's been weak all along goes all in, you got rivered by a 2-outer, a 95-5 down the drain. And then you get it in good against that opponent, you chop, and then you get it in flipping against another opponent where the worst you could be is flipping the 10-7 of hearts, given how the hand played out. You run it twice for a bunch, you break out, and then you flop a set and lose the middle pair, and you just got rivered again by a 2-outer, and now you're in your head. And I folded the trips, and that was pretty irritating. And I just fucking added the rest on. Let's just put it all on. The cap's off. Fuck it. And there's lots of straddles on. 5, 5, 10, 20, 40. And someone limps. And I make it 200 on the button with king 9. And Rob the bank, who's been running hot, makes it 800. And it folds back to me. And I decide to take a flop in position. This is not the preferred hand to do it with, but this guy has been so active. No one has this many good hands. I call. And the flop comes king 7, 5. And he puts out a continuation bet. I don't know, 6 or 800. Call. And, I have top pair. The turn's a 6 and he checks. Okay, I have top pair and a gut shot straight draw. I check back. The river's a 7. So the middle card on the flop pairs. And he bets 3K. He pots it. And the way I've played my hand, I think I have to call. I snap call. I didn't bet the turn. And the one thing I did wrong here is I didn't think this over. I think the way I can fold is seeing that he bet 3K. I think he bet smaller with a bluff. Anyways, he had ace king. And now I'm just absolutely buried. I've been running putrid in this session. Running into my high card is their pocket pair and everything else you already heard about a few times. And, heads up, 3-bet pot, you get top pair, you turn a straight draw, check, and now you call one bet on the river, but it's a big bet because the game's playing big, and you're fucked. And I have like 800 or 900, and I just send it in pre-flop with 9s. And Zohar calls me with king 7, suited, Mr. Kevin. And we're just going to run it once. I need to either double up to a bullet, or I need to lose my 5th bullet and get the fuck out of here. The flop comes with 2 7s on it. So that was my final hand, all in 9s against king 7 suited. And he just flopped trips. I think he might have turned a boat. I don't even know. But I just saw the 2 7s and I knew that was it. And yeah, I lost. I lost. Not an early 2000s Forerunner with high mileage. I lost like a 2012 Forerunner with, not so high mileage on it. And let me tell you, I did not feel good about that. Sure, I won a couple hoopties the night before, but this was, in a word, tilting. And you want to know what happens next, you're going to have to sign up at patreon.com/DGAF poker player, and you're going to have to cough up the $422 a month. Or you can wait till the next public drop. Either way, I think if you want to get these public drops in audio form, not on our YouTube channel, I think you have to sign up as a free member on Patreon. That's not my choice. That's them. But yeah, if you want to hear what happens next, big setback for me. This is just how it's been going for so fucking long. It's like, as I'm recording this, I'm like squeezing my leg. Like, fuck, man, it's rough. And let's check the goals and let's get out of here early today. Let's get out of this classroom early. This cautionary tale course you took. The goals: 50-50 tilt. I only want to tilt half the weeks I play. it's a lofty goal for me because I'm at 9 and 12 now. I definitely tilted on this night. And I can still play when I'm tilted, but I hate how I feel after. It sets me back. And that's why it's a goal. But I'm currently not hitting it. 9 weeks of no tilt, 12 weeks of tilt after 21 weeks. I want to get out of makeup. I started the year in $61,810 in makeup. I'm $75,320 in makeup. Not hitting that one either. Okay, what about the third goal? 230. I want to weigh 230 or less by the end of the year. Started at 247.3. Last week, 222.8. This week, 222.4. So I'm hitting one of my 3 goals. I could easily hit the tilt goal. I think maybe I need to play. I don't know when I can play. I'm always working. I was going to say when I haven't been working, but that's stupid because there isn't a day in the week or a day in the year where that's the case, where I just, wake up, get some exercise, have a nice lunch, go play poker. No, that's how it was when I was younger. That's not the story anymore. But I could hit that tilt goal. I could still hit the makeup goal. I'm gonna play the seniors high roller. Who knows? I could bank a tournament. I'm not counting on it. But if there was ever a spot in a tournament, it's that. People talk about the main event, and the main event is extremely plus EV for good deep stack cash players. Well, if you're talking about a 5K event like that where everyone has to be 50 or older, you're not going to be facing any young Euro pros, and that's what it is in the main event. The first few days, unless you run bad with your table draws, it's going to be a great field. And I've made deep runs in the main event. But day 5, 6, whatever, it's just you and a bunch of young fucking Germans or whatever. And they play tournaments all year round and they fucking tank and stare. And at this point, it's like, okay, like the dead money is gone. And now you got to battle and hopefully run good. But those guys can't play this fucking 5K high roller seniors event. So I'm going to play that. Who knows? I could make a run in that. I mean, I've made several runs in the main event. Why not this one? And either way, I can play bigger. I could play cash bigger soon. I am actively working on having a lighter schedule. I will certainly work every day of this year as I have the last fucking 8 years. But I could work less. I could have more exercise time, more time to sleep. And I'm working on that. I'm delegating stuff. I'm paying people to do stuff that I've been doing, even though it'll slow down my comeback, because I'm netting less income each month. It will hopefully allow me to, survive this grind. And maybe I can play some bigger poker, more relaxed. And maybe I would have folded to Stasia's jam when I flopped top 2 and I bet the flop in the turn and then she rivered the set of 8s. Maybe if I am more relaxed, I do fold there. And the butterfly effect is real. Maybe if I do fold, she has to show her cards because that's how we do it on Lucky Lady Casino Live because we don't have RFID yet. But maybe just that really good fold gives me some momentum to fold the next time. she fucking rivers a 2-outer against me. Or, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm always going to lose with the set of threes because I'm always going to play it that way. But maybe I call Winston with his weird bluff, and maybe I don't pay off, rob the bank, and maybe I keep playing into the night and it gets shorthanded and I fucking win instead of lose. So that's the plan, and that's all I got for this week. Peace.